Joanna Dennehy was born on August 29, 1982, in the city of St. Albans, Hertfordshire, United Kingdom. Her family was middle class. Her parents were law-abiding citizens, and her childhood seemed ordinary at first glance. However, from an early age, she began to display antisocial behavior. As a child, Joanna was intelligent and charismatic. But by her teenage years, she had become aggressive and rebellious. In school, she started skipping classes, stealing, and behaving cruelly toward her peers. Despite her parents' attempts to control her, she ran away from home at the age of 16 with a much older boyfriend. During this time, she began using alcohol and drugs, particularly amphetamines. Her lifestyle became increasingly destructive, and she soon became pregnant. At 17, she gave birth to her first child. But this did not change her behavior. She continued to lead an antisocial life, often leaving the child unattended. Later, she had a second child, but social services deemed her unfit for motherhood and took both children away. According to some reports, this event ultimately pushed her to completely sever ties with a normal life. By the age of 30, Joanna Dennehy was living a life filled with crime, violence, and drug addiction. She resided in Peterborough, Cambridgeshire, and associated with criminal circles. Her mental state was deteriorating. She exhibited sadistic tendencies, took pleasure in inflicting pain on others, and often spoke about her desire to kill friends and acquaintances. Noted that she loved dominating men, derived satisfaction from aggression, and behaved in an extremely unpredictable manner. According to some reports, she admired serial killers and even attempted to imitate their behavior. On April 2, 2013, Joanna Dennehy was arrested after a large-scale police operation. When she was apprehended, she showed no remorse. On the contrary, she laughed and acted as if it were merely a game. During interrogations, she confessed to the murders and even claimed that she had wanted to kill more people, saying she intended to murder at least 9. In 2014, the court found her guilty on all charges and sentenced her to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. This is one of the harshest sentences in British legal history, previously given to only a few women such as Myra Hindley and Rosemary West. Even after her arrest, Dennehy continued to display aggression. She attempted to organize an escape, threatened to kill prison guards, and exhibited extreme psychopathic traits. Psychologists studied her behavior and concluded that she was a rare example of a female serial killer with a highly pronounced antisocial personality and a complete lack of empathy. The story of Joanna Dennehy is one of the most horrifying in modern criminology. Her crimes were brutal and senseless, and her behavior was cold-blooded and terrifying. She not only killed people but also took pleasure in it, showing no remorse whatsoever. Her case remains a rare example of a female serial killer whose motives are still a mystery. Lucy Letby is a former British nurse who was convicted of murdering infants in the neonatal unit of a hospital in Chester, England. She committed her crimes between 2015 and 2016, killing newborns who were under her medical care. Letby became one of the most infamous criminals in British history, as she used her position to murder defenseless infants. Lucy Letby was born on January 4, 1990, in Hereford, United Kingdom. She grew up in an ordinary family, had no criminal history, and dreamed of becoming a nurse since childhood. After finishing school, she enrolled at the University of Chester, where she studied nursing. Her friends and professors described her as a shy but kind-hearted girl who wanted to help children. After completing her studies, she got a job at the Countess of Chester Hospital, where she worked in the neonatal unit, caring for premature and sick infants. From 2015 to 2016, strange and tragic incidents began occurring in the unit where Letby worked. Infants' conditions suddenly deteriorated and they died without any apparent cause. It was later discovered that Letby killed newborns using the following methods: injecting air into their bloodstream causing an embolism, overfeeding babies with milk leading to fatal complications, administering insulin resulting in deadly hypoglycemia, physically harming infants causing severe injuries. Some newborns survived her attacks but suffered serious health consequences. Among her victims were twins, one of whom died, while the other miraculously survived. Triplets, two of whom perished after her intervention. Several babies she killed while their parents were in the hospital room. Letby was often present at the moment an infant's condition worsened and even displayed sympathy toward the grieving parents. The hospital administration noticed a rise in mortality rates and launched an internal investigation. Doctors suspected Letby and tried to warn the management, but their concerns were ignored for a long time. It was not until 2017 that a full investigation was conducted, and Letby was temporarily suspended from work. In 2018, the police launched an official inquiry, reviewing more than 30 suspicious cases. In 2020, she was arrested, and in 2022, her trial began. In August 2023, Lucy Letby was found guilty of murdering 7 infants and attempting to murder 6 more. The court sentenced her to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, one of the harshest sentences in British history. During the trial, she showed no remorse and refused to appear for the sentencing. Lucy Letby's exact motives remain unclear. Some experts believe she killed for a sense of power and control. There is also a theory that she sought attention from her colleagues and wanted to appear as a hero, trying to save infants after their conditions worsened. Lucy Letby is one of the most horrifying criminals in British history. Her case shocked the entire country, as she committed murders while working in a trusted profession as a nurse. Her story has become a symbol of cruelty hidden behind a mask of care and compassion. Elizabeth Wettlaufer was born on June 10, 1967, in Woodstock, Ontario, Canada. She grew up in a strictly religious family that adhered to Baptist traditions. Her parents raised her with a strong sense of discipline and morality. But during her teenage years, she began to show signs of emotional instability. As a child, Wettlaufer was quiet but prone to sudden outbursts of aggression. She felt that she did not fit into the world around her, and she developed psychological issues at an early age. After finishing school, she enrolled at Conestoga College, where she studied nursing. In 1995, she earned her diploma and began working as a nurse in various healthcare facilities across Ontario. However, problems soon arose. Her colleagues noticed her strange behavior as well as her struggles with alcohol and drug abuse. Wettlaufer began killing in 2007 while working at the Care Care nursing home in Woodstock. She chose insulin as her weapon, knowing that an overdose of this hormone causes hypoglycemia, dangerous drop in blood sugar levels leading to seizures, coma, and death. Many of her victims suffered from dementia or other age-related illnesses, so their deaths did not raise suspicion. First victim, James Silcox, 84 years old. Wettlaufer committed her first murder in August 2007. Her first victim was 84-year-old James Silcox, a resident of the nursing home. He suffered from Parkinson's disease and dementia. She injected him with a lethal dose of insulin and watched as he agonized. Later, she admitted that after the murder she felt euphoria. and satisfaction after this incident. Wettlaufer realized that she could continue killing without arousing suspicion. Wettlaufer began killing in 2007 while working at the Caresant Care nursing home in Woodstock. She chose insulin as her weapon. Knowing that an overdose of this hormone causes hypoglycemia, a dangerous drop in blood sugar levels leading to seizures, coma, and death, many of her victims suffered from dementia or other age-related illnesses, so their deaths did not raise suspicion. First victim, James Silcox, 84 years old. Wettlaufer committed her first murder in August 2007. Her first victim was 84-year-old James Silcox, a resident of the nursing home. He suffered from Parkinson's disease and dementia. She injected him with a lethal dose of insulin and watched as he agonized. Later, she admitted that after the murder she felt euphoria and satisfaction after this incident. Wettlaufer realized that she could continue killing without arousing suspicion. From 2007 to 2016, Elizabeth Wettlaufer killed 8 people and attempted to take the lives of 6 others. Wettlaufer's victims: James Silcox, 84 years old, killed in August 2007. Insulin overdose. Maureen Park, 79 years old, killed in March 2010. Arpad Horvath, 75 years old, killed in August 2014. Gladys Millard, 87 years old, killed in October 2011. Helen Matheson, 95 years old, killed in July 2011. Mary Zurowinski, 96 years old, killed in November 2011. Maurice Granat, 84 years old, killed in December 2011. Helen Young, 90 years old, killed in July 2013. She also attempted to kill 6 other patients, but they survived, albeit with severe complications. Wettlaufer used insulin because this method was almost undetectable. An insulin overdose causes a sharp drop in blood sugar levels, seizures, loss of consciousness, coma, death. Since most of her victims were elderly, their deaths did not raise suspicion, as doctors considered them natural. For a long time, Wettlaufer's crimes went unnoticed. However, by 2016, she began experiencing guilt and inner turmoil. She told friends that she heard voices commanding her to kill. In October 2016, she voluntarily confessed to her crimes at a psychiatric clinic in Toronto. After her confession, the police launched an investigation. The bodies of some victims were exhumed, and tests confirmed insulin poisoning. Wettlaufer was arrested on October 25, 2016. The trial took place in June 2017. Wettlaufer confessed to 8 murders, 4 attempted murders, and 2 assaults. The court sentenced her to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for 25 years. The court described her crimes as horrific betrayals of trust. A sense of power and control. She enjoyed having power over the lives and deaths of her patients. The desire to feel chosen. She believed that God was using her to relieve the world of suffering. Personal satisfaction. She admitted that she experienced euphoria after committing the murders. Consequences of the Wettlaufer case. Her crimes caused a major scandal in Canada and led to a review of the elder care system. The Ontario government launched a public inquiry to determine how a nurse had been able to kill patients for so long without raising suspicion. After her arrest, regulations for screening nurses were tightened, and new measures were introduced to control the use of insulin in nursing homes.